y'all doing out there today? Today I want to ask the question, is God good or bad? Is God good or bad? If he's bad, then why do we say he's good? And if he's good, then why do we have bad days? So today I want to ask the question, is God good or bad? I want to use the example that if you've ever had kids, or if you've had somebody that you've had to be responsible over, then you can understand the analogy that I'm about to use. Are you only good to your kids when you're providing for them, when you're paying the light bill, when you're providing meals for them, when you're making sure that clothes are on their back and a roof stays over their head? Are you only good to your kids when you're doing something for them? Are you good to your kids even when they're having a bad time or a rough patch? Are you good to your kids even when you have to discipline them or punish them? Are you good then? What if your kids only said you were good during the good days? What if every time you had to discipline them or teach them or show them a different way or let them go through something, they said you were bad? Now, don't get this twisted. I've been a child before myself. And when I was a child, I thought like a child. So a lot of things that happened to me when I was a child, I didn't understand. I literally thought my mom or my dad hated me sometimes when I would get punished. The good days were good. I was able to come in the house, click on the light switch, watch free satellite TV, enjoy the food in the refrigerator that I did not pay for, sleep in a bed that I did not pay for, wear clothes that I didn't have no idea how much they cost. The good days were great. What about the days when I had to be put back on the right path? What about the days when I was told that I could not watch TV or I could not go to place that I wanted to go? When I was a child, I could not understand why they did this. When I became an adult, I saw that I had to take the good with the bad. What I couldn't understand when I was a kid, when I became mature enough, it made sense to me. I felt stupid because what I couldn't understand or process then was everything they were doing was working together for my good, was working together for me to become a more mature version of myself. See, we only want good days when it comes to God. That's some of our ideals, and this is why some people turn their back against God. Because when times get rough and their back is against a hard place, they begin to think, well, this God that we serve can't be good. How could he let me go through this? Why would he watch me suffer? When we're not realizing that your good and your bad work together as a whole to make you a more mature person, to make you the full version of who you are today. And you may not like who you are today. Maybe those lessons, you didn't take them the right way. And maybe that's why you're still going through some of the tests that you were going through as an immature person of God. But what you have to start to realize is like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said when they were thrown into the fiery furnace. If my God does not deliver me, I know he can. Or you have to be like the psalmist said, I will bless the Lord at all times, for he is good. I then realized that my mom and dad were good because they took care of me even when I didn't know I needed to be taken care of. They wiped my booty when I didn't know I had a booty to be wiped. They fed me and thought about me. When I was sleeping in my bed and wanted my Fruity Pebbles in the morning, they would have cereal for me. But that's when I became mature and realized the sacrifices that they were making to make sure that I was okay, to make sure that I was protected, to make sure that I was covered, even when I didn't have the knowledge to do it for myself. So is God good or bad? God covers and protects you and watches and goes before you. But he's also the same God that deserves the honor and respect that when he has to sit you down and make you be still, then he deserves the honor and respect of that too. You can't just say God is good when you're being blessed. I know we all like good days, and when we're walking in the light of God and everything's flowing good, it can feel almost euphoric. But you're gonna have to learn how to enjoy the rough times too, because the rough times are the ones that make you learn. The hard times are the ones that make you become a better person. When everything is going good, many of us, we don't have the discipline to do the right thing. But when things are going bad, it causes us to sit back and watch the Lord be God and magnify his name. And then from that point, we can learn. When you became an adult and you begin to have children of your own, you begin to reflect on some of the life lessons and the disciplines that your mother and father taught you. And it all made sense. And you wish you could go back to being that child so you can honor and respect them different. There's nothing you could do about the past. So when you begin to discipline your kids, all those lessons that they showed you, you begin to implement them yourself and you understand them so clearly. And when your kids buck up against you, you say, I totally understand. God is good at all times. That's why his praise should continually come out of your mouth, because he's always good. You have a breath to breathe every time you wake up, and a lesson to learn, and a day to live, a day that nobody saw before. You have to be happy in that. When I'm making these videos right here, is it that everything is perfect? Is everything going great? No. Actually, I go through rough patches all the time. But I'm learning to be content in the Lord and where he has me. And there's a reason for where I am. God said I created both good and evil. I send storms in men's life. You got to know that God is God and God alone. In Job, when he talks to Job, that's one of the biggest points that I take out of the story of Job. He wanted a deeper relationship with Job. Job couldn't understand why God was doing things or allowing these things to be done in his life. Job was known as an upright man, one of the most blessed men in the East in the Bible, if you read that story. He shunned evil. You got to read this story. But God allows Satan to come in his life and tear some things up. And Job could not understand why. Job could not understand why God would allow this. But at the end of that story, when Job finally confronts God and God confronts Job, he begins to understand who God is, and his relationship causes him to draw closer. So is God good or evil? Is God good or bad? You got to decide that. But as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. And for me, God is good at all times.